Good evening. Welcome to the Brothers and Sisters podcast for today, Thursday, June 3rd, 2021. It's good to be back. It's been a while, but we've got a packed show for you. Our guest is Violet Gray. She's going to talk about all sorts of things. Today, specifically, we're going to talk about the world premiere tomorrow of, and let me get the title right, The Unforgettable Liam White?
No.
Salt.
Just go Liam White, bro. That's all you need.
Just go Liam White?
Yeah, that's all you
Of
need.
Liam White. And you're getting that from Liam White. Ellie Kemper and being crowned like Miss Racist 1999. I guess what I would call somebody called it a misogynist battle between Kevin Samuels and Umar Johnson. That's the best I heard of. It was so funny when I heard the battle of misogynist battle. I was like, that's not bad. Uncle Joe Biden acknowledging the Tulsa massacre. And we'll keep it to that specifically. We're definitely going to get into critical race theory in the upcoming weeks. Coming from somebody who, even though I'm on the high school level, my curriculum is steeped in CRT. So we'll talk about that. Naomi Osaka, kind of sort of reclaiming her truth, reclaiming her time, stepping away from the French Open, which triggered Piers Morgan and a bunch of other people. Mm-hmm. And that kind of sort of segues into racism in sports fans generally. We got out of this pandemic and now we're back at games and people don't know how to act.
Anywhere, you're right.
Anywhere. And then of course we'll have some time talking with Violet at the end about all sorts of things. It is Pride Month. So all of our themes, all of our guests, we're certainly going to talk about the history, talk about now, and talk about the future as far as LGBT issues are concerned. And we'll take it from there. Before we get into these topics, Violet, do you want to talk a little bit about yourself?
Hey everybody, what's up? My name is Violet Gray. I am a transgender stand-up comic with a focus on nerd stuff and politics in my stand-up. Those are two things that are very important to me. I occasionally make YouTube videos and occasional target of the alt-right.
Yeah.
Hasn't happened in a while, but yeah, that's what I do. Comedy, nerd stuff. That's what I do. I joke and I roll things.
We're gonna get much deeper into that in your interview, particularly the targeting by the alt-right. I don't have to do that. I don't have to worry about it anymore since I've been banned from Twitter. Like it's kind of sort of like I mean it's a long story. I basically, well, your politics is part of your thing. Remember, obviously, you know Senator John James. He was, attempted Senator John James from Michigan, the black Trump dude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I called him Senator Sambo. And and Twitter didn't like that. And they were like, you keep doing this. So they banned me permanently. But unlike Trump, like I'm not really tripping. Like it'll be okay. First things first. And it's really good that we got here because this was actually a topic Violet brought up on her Facebook page. And it garnered all sorts. Normally when Violet brings up a commentary on her Facebook, it gains a lot of you get a lot of commentary, a lot of traffic, Violet.
Yeah.
But I thought Ellie Kemper was big. It was interesting, and a lot of people had a lot to say about their own reckoning, particularly white people, when it came to it was like, oh, this is when I realized I was super racist or whatever. And it seems like there was a lot of that going on. But we'll get to that. But as I see the man doing his thing, first things first, Liam White, can you talk to us about Liam White?
Oh, excuse me. You caught me off guard. I don't know, man. It was originally titled the Forgettable Life of Liam White, but it's just Liam White is a little more palatable. I feel like so I think
So it was the forgettable or unforgettable life.
Forgettable.
Oh, I wasn't that far off. Okay, go ahead.
An independent film directed by Harold Jackson III, who's a director I've worked with a couple times. It's starring myself, Jasmine Guy, T.C. Carson, Ray Williams, and a host of other people, Karan Joseph Wiley, some newcomers, Sasha Wakefield. It's I play a writer, a fairly successful writer who's fallen on some tough times, right? Creatively, and in the midst of that, he gets a diagnosis that his non-Hodgkin's lymphoma has returned, and he has a limited time to live. So he tries to get his affairs in order. He has a strained relationship with his mother, played by Jasmine Guy, and his father, played by T.C. Carson, and women in his life and friends, and he's trying to reconcile all that before his time's up. And the movie basically kind of goes with Liam on that journey as he reconciles with his life coming to an end and the people around him. But yeah, it world premieres in a couple of hours actually at the DC Film Festival. I think there's a link on my social media. You just click on it. It's free tickets, free to register, and it'll be up from June 4th through June 9th. So you can watch it anytime in between there. And once you start it, you just have 24 hours to watch it. And then it'll probably be out for distribution after that, but I don't know the details of that yet. So I guess I'll keep everybody posted.
How do you feel, man? I mean, I know you're a veteran of these things, but it's still a movie premiere, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's virtual, so it's not the red carpet stuff, but it's cool. I've seen it once already because I had a surprise screening for friends and family through it, like rented out a theater and through a surprise screening. So I'm looking forward for everybody else to get to see it. But yeah, I think it's a good film. So I hope everybody enjoys it.
That's what I was gonna ask. You saw it. What do you think about it? I know it stars you, but we like movies, so you can be honest.
It was all right. Check out your stuff. No, man, it was a fun process. It was a really cool crew, and everybody was super helpful, and the whole cast was great to work with. Real generous. So yeah, I think it turned out well. But 1201, we'll see.
We will see. I know I registered also. Is there anything other than the link where to see it? What's something that somebody watching it should look for, or while you were playing Liam White, what was it that you realized that, made this movie different or made it special or made it unique?
It was reality. I mean, it kind of mirrored life. It wasn't like your typical melodramatic cancer movie. It's real issues, and then the outcomes in the end are more, I feel like, grounded in reality. So that's something to look for. It's not necessarily it's not necessarily about me being sick or the cancer. It's just that journey is the overall overarching theme, I feel like.
Jasmine Guy, T.C. Carson, pros.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. They were real pros, real generous. I did all the work with them in one weekend. Independent film, we don't have all the time and money, so it's just had to squeeze everything in and make it as efficient as possible. But we worked it out. Everyone was real cool, and everything turned out pretty well.
Okay. Nicole, Walter, Violet, any questions? Insights?
That's real exciting, Sean.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, congratulations. That's pretty awesome. I'm gonna look that up as soon as we're dwn.
Word.
You can post it on my social media.
Yeah, it's on my I think my IG bio, just Sean Woodland.
Will do.
So Liam White, not the unforgettable Liam White or whatever, or forgettable Liam White. It's on social media. We can see it tomorrow or actually tonight, depending upon where this is. and it kind of sort of, I almost want to, we can actually keep this segment going because it goes from the unforgettable or Liam White or whatever to what's the name of Ellie Kemper's show? It's like
Breakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah, Kimmy Schmidt.
Unforgivable Kimmy
The
Schmidt.
unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I mean,
I know
I've
where
never
you stand.
never seen it.
I've seen like the
Yeah.
first few seasons. I kind of fell off for a
I
while.
didn't even know who
I've
she
definitely
was.
seen
I
it.
saw the first season.
I
I
ain't seen
couldn't.
none of them. When you sent me the name, I was like, who the hell is this? I had to Google what happened and why she's relevant. I didn't know who she was.
So
Yeah, I just.
go ahead, Nicole.
Yeah, I just am always shocked, not because of the actions, because I expect this. It's just that in the age we're living in, how people think it's not going to come up. Did you suddenly forget that you were racist and were winning awards for racism, or?
What was their argument? Did they say that whatever that ball was been integrated since the 70s or some shit?
Yeah, that's what I saw. They're like, it's not racist anymore. Like it was like we integrated in the 70s, and it was like,
That's
Do
like
they
her
know
coming out
that?
saying, that's like her coming out saying, hey, my main co-star is black. I've been working with him for years. We were great.
He's like family. I even let him in my house in the front door. It's great.
That is a bad argument because that's what they've been saying about the United States. That it's not racist because we integrated it. But so that particular point, I think, is bad. I do think, however, that it all happened a little fast. Like, as soon as I saw the Ellie Kemper thing, I looked up to see if she had said anything about it. I didn't find it, but what I did find was like 20 articles saying she was in the KKK.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and that's the thing. Like, I feel like outrage can run a lap before the truth puts its boots on. And I'm just like, where do we, I would just like to actually hear the truth. Now, somebody in the comments of that big discussion I started said that she addressed it X amount of years ago.
I saw that. I couldn't find it.
I couldn't find it either. I went looking, but I mean, I just think, and for one thing, I want to see, here's the thing. I debate conservatives a lot. And one thing that I don't want to do is leave myself open to something like a fact check. So for example, when they say that Ellie Kemper was part of a KKK ball, she wasn't.
Correct.
She was not. And I don't want to state something like that and then have them check me on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just
it's
think
almost
that,
like you value being factual.
Yes.
That's very rare nowadays. You realize
I mean, that's all
right?
racists choose to focus on some little bullshit inaccuracy or some distraction. That's the whole point of what they.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: is this person really that relevant? Because I didn't know who she was, and I watch a lot of TV. I listen to a lot of radio. I don't even know who she is.
I didn't know who she was either.
So to me, she's indifferent.
Well, here's the thing. People love nothing more than uncomplicated outrage.
Yeah.
So people will make her a big deal just to be mad at her.
Yeah.
I have no particular, like, I'm not an Ellie Kemper stan. I liked the first season. I just think that we have to get all the facts because we have people that, like Sean said, will use some bullshit inconsistency to try to discredit us.
Mm-hmm. So doing the research, like I saw that I recognized her face. She was like the secretary in the office that like took over, she took over for, I guess, Pam, right? Mm-hmm. And then her family's loaded, right? It's like old school Southern wealth. Yeah. So like it goes back, right?
Blends itself to a little race.
She has the family from Get Out, yeah.
Yeah, she does. That's literally what she
We're
has.
not going to fact check.
That's literally them.
Yeah, that's like what they are. It's like saying, and Nicole, I wish you were here. You know, I wish John was here because it's St. Louis, right? He'd be able to tell us a lot more about like the veiled prophets and stuff like that. What do you guys think about the fact that she hasn't said anything?
Again,
I think she's a great publicist.
I think that if she talks, that opens up to more liability, right? Because if she talks, there's gonna be questions. Forget the question. Don't talk about it. It'll go away.
I think it's just crisis management. They're hoping that, like you said, that it's going to go away. The stories come out. Hopefully something will happen over the weekend and they'll die.
Yeah, I to some extent would disagree with her team because I think, and I agree with Nicole that I think that's probably the strategy, but I think that they are leaving this to sort of fester. And if something else goes wrong, people are going to refer right back to this because it's the internet. Nothing goes away. And so, yeah, I mean, like Nicole said, that seems to be the strategy. I just don't think it's a good strategy. Like, you remember when Chris Brown had this interview where he got asked about Rihanna and he flipped out?
Yeah, that did not go well.
Yeah, that's because his team decided to ignore it. They should have prepped him for that.
Or he should have kept his hands to himself, but that's another
yes. But assuming that he's stupid.
Yeah. What about the Lieutenant Governor in Virginia who supposedly raped Melanie?
Yeah.
I mean, we ain't heard nothing since then.
Well, who?
The Lieutenant Governor in Virginia. The black lieutenant.
Oh, Justin, what's his name? With the chick who went to Bryn Mawr?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're gonna settle that though. They were talking. They were talks about but
it's gone.
So
it goes away.
That's different though, in the sense that that's criminal, right? Being a racist isn't necessarily criminal. Like this is he was dealing with like a criminal, which I guess is now turned into a civil matter, which they're trying to deal with. Like this is what like kind of sort of what Walter was saying, what Nicole was saying, like this seems like, and what Violet was kind of sort of reinforcing, this seems like a PR play. Like, hey, like let's try to see if we can wait this out or is there any other shit out there?
Well, right? Yeah, well, we've got Ghislaine Maxwell right now.
Yeah.
So they're hoping that that's gonna
overshadow it, right?
Yeah, they better get John Wick to guard her because
they're definitely going for.
The challenge that I just have in general is that for all of the Ellie Kemper, I don't even know how to pronounce her last name, so that tells you how aware I am of her. Yeah. To me, sometimes this feels a little performative. And everybody's outraged and they're angry and they cancel, and then what happens? So I almost wonder if the other conversation is what is the solution, right? So after we're angry, after we have brought this to the forefront of conversation, how do we hold her? How do we hold her PR team accountable? And then what happens next? Because I'm tired of these apologies and everybody reading white fragility.
She hasn't even apologized.
I'm tired of the reading list. What?
To me, it happened in what, 97?
Yeah.
99.
Oh, was it 99? I thought it was.
What, to me,
99.
Maybe I'm twisted about it.
She's our age.
To knowledge, right? There has been no repetitive behavior. She was part of something when she was a kid because she was in high school.
Okay, now I agree with you in the end. I don't think it matters, but we might be the wrong demographic because, we aren't checking for Ellie Kemper, right?
Right.
This is where I got into it on Violet's page with some people. And because a lot of people were like, this was my come to Jesus moment when racism. 19 is not, I don't know what I was doing. I didn't know it was racist or whatever.
It's stupid Bachelor. You know what you're doing.
Yeah, I said do a Google search and people were like, oh, people weren't using Google in 1999 like that. I'm like, fine. There's a way that you can research, hey, what is the history of this organization that's giving me this prize? Right? Can I look into that?
No, they didn't. Nobody cared.
if
Because
I
it was different. Nobody cared. You
But
know,
if you have a team, that's their job. You don't accept any award without knowing who you're accepting it from, right? If you have, and I don't care when you start, like there's a packet and it's like, who are you? Who are your past awardees? What have they done?
but that's now. That wasn't
That was in the 90s. You still do that. Yeah, there was PR in the 90s.
Not like
that.
that.
I know for a fact.
She wasn't famous then. She was just a
Oh, well, she's an idiot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess Sean, thinking about you were talking about independent films. This was actually another thing that's kind of sort of incidental to the race thing, but it does talk about class. Like they were saying, normally when you have somebody like her that just emerges onto the scene or whatever, especially in Hollywood, like they're coming from money, like they're coming from connections, like resources. And Nicole asked the question, what is the solution? Because she was tired of apologies and like people being canceled. And I kind of sort of, though, I'm always for people being canceled. I get what she was saying. Not always for people being canceled. You got to do something cancelable. But when it comes to racism, I'm like, come on, you should know better now. Is this a problem? And that's kind of sort of what Walter was saying. Like, is this significant?
She ain't significant, so why is this significant? If it was Joe Biden, right? If it was Joe Biden and there was a picture of Joe Biden in blackface, that'd be a whole other thing. Right?
Right.
He would have known better in the 70s, in the 60s. But unlike the rest of his counterparts, ain't no pictures of Joe Biden in blackface. It don't exist.
Yeah.
So I just see it as insignificant. She is insignificant. Dude, you probably got more likes on your Facebook page than she got.
I know Violet does. That was
quite a debate.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
not even
that tends to happen sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, the Hollywood environment is kind of hyper focused on weeding that shit out, especially nowadays.
Especially
what I mean? They don't even play Entourage on HBO anymore because of that era seems so toxic. So her being in that industry, it's tough. You know what I mean? Like if you're like what was the woman from Star Wars who got
Gina Carano.
Yeah. In that similar realm, it was like we don't have to work with you if you believe these things. You know what I mean? That's pretty much the Hollywood, the company line at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Gina Carano's hers was so easily avoidable though. Yeah. She kept saying dumb stuff here and now over and over and over. And
that's how you know they're a true racist, because like the real racists who believe it in their heart, they can't help themselves. Like if some shit triggers them, they gotta let you know. this
is where I stand.
Yeah, and
dude, it's just like dumb people. You say something, they get no triggered, they're gonna try to go out their way to prove that they ain't dumb. It's the same shit.
Yeah.
And I think as much as people who have those political leanings say that they love capitalism, they get super hurt when a capitalistic decision is made that you're bad for PR and then they let you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so against cancel culture, right?
So that's the idea with that's what and I know you're familiar with it. That's what Ben Shapiro's trying to do with Daily Wire, right? He's trying to create like a kind of a racist conservative. Well, yes. I shouldn't say racist. Conservative, right-leaning, like production method for movies. So he signed Gina Carano, right? She's gonna direct. I think she's gonna direct 3 movies for him.
There's so few talented people with that ideology. Who they got? They got like James Woods. Like they fucking suck at being creatives because your whole belief system is wound up in bullshit. You know what I mean? Creativity is about truth.
So have you heard of a TV show called The Flip Side?
No.
Exactly. There's a reason for that. The Flip Side was the conservative attempt to be The Daily Show.
I see.
And there's a reason. And first of all, very first episode, they stole a Bill Burr joke and messed it up in the opening monologue.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's a component, like people need a set of relief. And sometimes you just can't do that by punching down.
Yeah.
Because when you're privileged, the down is the majority, and that's who you need to resonate with.
Yeah.
we're getting into, I think, and it makes sense, right? Because it ends up being dollars and cents, right? Does this hurt the unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt or whatever? Because it's been my experience of what I've seen, like when these things happen, like you can ping pong to the other side. So like Piers Morgan has gone from, and we'll talk about him later, he's gone from conservative to liberal to back conservative darling, like within like a decade span. And it's like when one side, for lack of a better, I mean, Nicole said it, when one side kind of sort of cancels him, it kind of sort of opens up a market from like the other side. And so
the Candace Owens effect.
Yeah,
it's like how they're so against cancel culture.
Right? That's the place in hell for her. We're not going to talk about her, right? That's the place in hell for her.
They're so against cancel culture, but then they're quick to boycott some shit when somebody stands up for justice or something like that. They're like, oh,
women's rights.
Yeah.
I made a post a while ago.
Texas, the valedictorian in Texas who used her valedictorian speech to talk about the bill that Abbott signed outlawing abortions after 6 weeks or some shit. I was impressed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you were saying something, Violet. Go ahead.
Oh, I posted this meme of this man covered in ashes, and I posted it with the quote, "Your Colin Kaepernick jersey watching you decry cancel culture."
That's fantastic. That's amazing.
You know, so I think what we're saying, or what the general consensus is that at least for most of us in here, we're not really tripping on Ellie Kemper. You show me a uber rich white woman who's 40 and will probably show you some racist ties to her family, especially from St. Louis, right? Missouri, pretty racist, right? Like you go back, like, so it matters, I guess, because she's famous. But on the other hand, it doesn't matter because, as Nicole was saying, there isn't really, or people aren't thinking about solutions. And you know what comes of this is what?
Maybe she knows that, and this is why she's being quiet and trying to ride this shit out.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, people ain't tripping on me. Just shh.
Right.
And we'll get back to work eventually.
Put your head down.
I mean, I know that like for crisis management, a lot of times the answer is hold. Hold and see how big it is. Hold, see what time this is coming at.
Right.
And if there are not enough outlets that are really picking it up, it is what it is.
Yeah. We actually have about a minute left before we end this segment. So I want to squeeze something in. It's a smaller thing, but it just tickled me to death. Thoughts on Trump shutting down his blog? Because he gets no hits.
You knew that shit was gonna crash eventually.
Oh, did he try to do a social media thing and it failed because he's terrible?
So much winning.
Like, he's not good at shit. You know what I mean?
It was horrible. I was talking to mom to get some perspective. He was getting Killing the Breeze. We get about 1,500 hits, like unique hits or whatever, in a week. And I haven't been writing. I haven't updated since like March. Trump was getting, 10 times that, 15,000 a week. And he was the leader of the free world for 4 years. So that kind of shows you how little traffic was coming to his blog. And then also, he's a 280 character guy. His following is 280 characters. Like, blog, when you're talking about writing articles and stuff like that and fleshing out thoughts, that's not MAGA's not about that.
No.
Not at all. So I thought that was good. Our next, we'll get to our next segment, which will be the Massage battle. So,
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.